Hi, I'm Dr. Paul Mason, and this is Titan in a nutshell. Cassini-Huygens discovered Titan in 1655. Here is a picture of Titan and Saturn taken with the Pioneer spacecraft, which was the first spacecraft to take images of Saturn and fly by Saturn. And keep in mind that this was about 45 years after the discovery of the moons of Jupiter by Galileo. Titan is the second largest moon and second most massive moon in the solar system after Ganymede. And it's interesting that the second largest moon is orbiting around the second largest planet, Saturn. Also, Titan has some similarities with Earth. Titan has a nitrogen atmosphere. It's the only other planet, the only other object in the solar system. We call it any world in the solar system besides the Earth that has a nitrogen-dominated atmosphere. The atmosphere is a little bit thicker than denser than the Earth's atmosphere. And when we look at Titan, we don't see the surface, and this is a true color image. We don't see the surface like on Earth. The Earth is about 50% covered by clouds at any one time, but we can see the surface. Titan has a haze over that's in the high part of the atmosphere that covers the whole surface. But we can see the Titan is about 1.5 times the mass of the moon. It's a bit larger than the moon and a bit smaller than the Earth. And so Titan is truly a world that is comparable to a planet in a lot of ways because of its atmosphere and processes going on the surface. Another feature of Titan is that it has liquid on the surface, and it's the only other object in the solar system besides Earth to have liquid flowing on the surface. So here's an image of Titan seen in front of the ring of Saturn. This was taken by the Cassini spacecraft. The Cassini spacecraft visited Saturn. It also flew by Titan up close, took some close up images of Titan. And here is a glint from a lake from the Cassini spacecraft. So there's a lake here, and the sunlight is shining on it such that it's reflecting off of that lake and into the camera of the spacecraft. And we can see the haze from the atmosphere all along here. There's the glint indicating that there is a lake there on Titan. And here's that other true color image. But this mosaic taken by the Cassini spacecraft was able to have the clouds removed by taking enough images that didn't have clouds to construct this entire mosaic of the surface. And we can see this large region called Shangri-La, this very large dark region here on the surface of Titan. Now another thing that we can see in this enhanced color image, so this is not true color, but it's enhanced so that details can be brought out and can be observed. And then expanded, blown up in detail, and we can see that there is a volcano. It's difficult to see, but this is interpreted as being an ice volcano. So on Titan, there is a geological activity like on Earth, like volcanoes, except on Titan it's very different. On Earth we have rock and lava with volcanoes coming out, with lava flowing out of a volcano. On Titan, ice replaces the rock and water replaces the lava. So you have ice, chunks of ice coming out of a volcano, and water flowing. On Titan, the temperature is so cold that water is perpetually frozen as rock, and only when it would be heated up in the internal geological processes on Titan would it be turned to water, and that would be considered very hot. So it's very similar processes, just different materials. So the Cassini-Huygens mission landed by parachute on Titan on January 14, 2005. So Cassini was a probe that, Cassini was a spacecraft that flew to and orbited Saturn for many years, and took data for about 20 years. But Huygens was a probe that was dropped from the spacecraft and landed by parachute on to Titan, and as it fell, it observed some remarkable things. There are some clouds seen here. There is a lake. This is a lake, and we can see kind of, looks like a river flowing into this lake. And so with tributaries and all of that. So we can see that there is a actual coastline here on Titan, but the liquid is not water. The liquid in this case is liquid methane and other hydrocarbons like propane and but mainly liquid methane. And so on Titan it's so cold that methane, which is a gas here on Earth, is a liquid there, and water, which is a liquid on Earth, is a solid on Titan. And in fact, what looks like to be rock all here is probably actually ice, and the erosion has taken place in the ice. So the ice replaces the rock, but very similar processes happening. We can see that the coastline has changed. Here's a lake, and there are features in this area, which is here, blown up, and those features have changed, indicating that like lakes on Earth or like coastlines on Earth, they change over time as more the liquid flows in and around. Titan's structure, well, Titan has this organic rich atmosphere and surface. It has a outer shell of water ice, and so this outer shell of water ice is what we see, and I was talking about the rock. It acts like rock, and on Earth, with the hydrocarbons and liquid methane carving valleys into the ice. And then there is probably a global subsurface ocean and a shell of ice underneath that, and then below that rock with a lot of water, hydrated silicate core, which is rock with water. And so that is Titan in a nutshell. We have a couple things to summarize. Titan is the other object besides Earth in the solar system to have a nitrogen atmosphere. It's the only moon to have a thick atmosphere. The other moons all have a very, very thin atmosphere, and Titan has an atmosphere thicker and denser than Earth's. So it's very unusual. It's the second largest moon in the solar system, the largest moon of Saturn, and it's the only object other than Earth to have liquid surface, liquids on the surface, and it's not water, but it's hydrocarbons, and methane and other hydrocarbons on the surface. So that's Titan in a nutshell.